Well, hello and welcome to Canada. This is Trois-Rivières and we are ready to go for qualifying 2 of the World Rallycross Championship 2018, round 7. We've had a long summer break and look at that. That is an incredible collection of champions right there. Petter Solberg, Sebastian Loeb, Matthias Ekstrom, just chatting with the classic racing driver body language, ready to race against each other again. So we bring ourselves to Canada and it is the beginning of August. Let's see where we've been so far this year and when we've still got to go. So we all started way back in April in Barcelona. Do you remember that? Then we had the snow in Portugal. We went to Belgium and then Silverstone, the Speed Machine Festival. Norway and Sweden in the heat of June and July. Then we've had a break. Now we're in Canada. Then there's France, Latvia, United States, Germany and South Africa to round off the season. So this is the midpoint. So Trois-Rivières is the town. We're about an hour and a half north of Montreal. Let's go and see if we can talk to some drivers. There's Nicholas Gronholm, although it's hard to recognize him because he seems to have come in disguise with his new beard. Nicholas, how are you doing? Are you feeling good and ready for Q2?
Yeah, I think so. Q1 was surprisingly good. I didn't expect it because I was quite slow in practice, so but I could follow Matthias and a decent time, so yeah, good to start building on that.
You're a little bit taller than me, you're closer to the weather. Do you think it's going to rain pretty soon? Because that grey cloud is quite looming and ominous.
Yeah, we could start now for me. It looks really bad, so yeah, hopefully not, but it is what it is. We can't change the weather, so yeah, hoping for dry, but let's see.
Brilliant, good luck. Some very nice steady Finnish philosophy. So let's have a little dive in here. Just take a moment, everybody, to see how many champions we have standing here right now. You don't look like you're about to do battle out there. You all look very calm and collected. What is the feeling like just before we go into Q2?
We were actually talking about rallying.
As you would. Is that because this circuit reminds you a little bit of the different variety of surfaces of rallying?
It's not for that, but 2 rally drivers, 2 world champions that meet sometime to have some stories to tell.
So does that mean that you can contribute to that?
No, not really. I more listen. No, I did a few rallies, so I mean I know a bit, but not as much as those 2 for sure. But still, I have a big passion and I follow rally daily.
Yeah, we all do. So good luck in Q2. We'll be watching. Now let's go up to the commentary booth, which is a tent all the way over there, and we should have Andrew Coley and Carl Nadeau ready to tell us what happened previously in World Rallycross.
Neil was doing exceptionally good pointing there. We were almost right on the end of Neil's pointing down in the pre-grid. So it's starting to get dark here. We've had a couple of delays. We had a bit of a crash in ARX. Carl Nadeau has been with us here ever since we started coming to Canada. Local racing driver and racing expert and thoroughly nice chap who enjoys looking at Rallycross with us, and that's what we're going to do now. So let's take a quick look back at Q1. For those of you who missed it, where were you? Go back and watch it again on the Facebook page. Here is an idea of what happened. So both the 2 GCK cars didn't get a particularly good start, while Gronholm got a fantastic one. Look at Ekstrom here shutting the draw on Gronholm. Gronholm did well not to collect him in the rear. But in the background, de Moustier and Chicherit, not enough room for 2 cars. In fact, that's where Faust had his issue recently in ARX. See, de Moustier collected the wall on the outside. Faust managed to get the wall on the inside. So it's turn 2 is proving to be the crunch point. Ekstrom there with Gronholm following, and we didn't realise quite how good Gronholm's time was at this point, of course, and he's just said himself he's very, very pleased to be where he was in P4 at the end of the session. On to race 2. Look at that start from Tim Yazyanov. Nose came up real quick, but then you see the power of the 2 VW Polos absolutely flying backwards, super late on the brakes up the inside, trying to go through but couldn't. Christopherson slotted in behind Solberg in the end, and then it all kicked off. So backward, look, there's a little bit of contact with him and Christopherson. Christopherson runs wide. Christopherson then compromises his entry. Backward gets up the inside. He's only a nose up. He says, I'm coming through anyway. Christopherson almost, or was he in the wall? We couldn't see. Can you imagine trying to drive a supercar in that dust? Bit of contact then with Tim Yazyanov in the background. Finally, Andreas Backrud got through. Remember, this is all about time qualifying, so it's unusual for the very big stars of World RX to go at it quite like these guys did. I haven't managed to get down into the paddock, but I can imagine Johan Kristoffersson wasn't over the moon. Backrud would have been pleased to be in front, but we'll know he lost some time. Kevin Eriksson, you could see, managed to get past all of them with the first lap joker. None of them got anywhere near Petter Solberg, who was absolutely flying. Not, though, as quick as Ekstrom. Ekstrom at this point was a second clear of Solberg, and we hadn't seen the Peugeots. Remember that break Neil talked about? Well, they've all been doing testing. 6 days of testing for EKS, 3 days at Hollius and 3 days down at Latvia, and these guys apparently ran every second of the clock at Latvia. Well, you can see there, Timmy Hansen used every inch of the road here in Canada, ended up tapping the wall, having got the whole shot. He had to give best to his teammate Sebastian Loeb. The 9-time World Rally Champion set a time of 3:23.4. He's 6/10 up on Matthias Ekstrom. So what have Peugeot found? 50 qualifying points for Loeb at the top of the table from Ekstrom, Solberg, Gronholm. 4 different manufacturers in the top 4. Then Kevin Hansen, Timmy Hansen, Kevin Eriksson, Yannis Baumanis are your top 8. Right, Carl Nadeau, looking forward to this, Q2. You've managed to get downstairs. I've been up here the entire time, but we've had some great racing so far. And have you got any stories for us from down in the paddock, or have you just been trying to take it all in?
Well, people were working hard on some of the cars. I've seen people just making sure the airflow was right for the radiator. They sit in the back, and sometimes the slightest little adjustment, especially with that kind of warm weather and humidity, you do everything you can to lose a few degrees. And I'm very surprised, well, surprised and not to see Bakkerud and Christopherson in 9th and 10th place. Basically, the time they lost fighting with each other and pushing each other, well, it shows on the sheet.
You want to get through, don't you? Of course, if you finish in front of the other guy, you set a better time, therefore it's a better result. But sometimes when you have a fight like that and you lose that much time, yeah, it doesn't really work. So looking forward to seeing them racing again anyway, because I think they're going to be lining up next to each other on the grid. So that'll be coming up soon. You better stay tuned. Q2 then starts here for the FIA World Rallycross Championship. Let's take a look at the grid for race 1. Jérôme Grosset-Janin next to Timon Timosyanov. Larson is in the middle. Gulan Chicheret and Gregoire Demoustier. Those two guys, of course, came together last time. You see 14th, 15th. Gregoire with a retirement at DNF, having had the front corner ripped off. Gulan and him just couldn't fit 2 cars into a gap wide enough for 1. Both the GCK cars got slightly tardy starts last time. I would say it was a combination of reaction time and possibly settings. Are they going to do anything better this time? Timosyanov will certainly want to improve on his pace, considering his teammate was in 4th. Timmer at the minute is in P12. So remember, only the top 12 go through to the semi-finals. There's that noise, fingers in ears. Everyone at the back of the grid's got cans on. You can see that's for TV, but it'll be protecting them from the noise of these fantastic machines. Chicheret on the inside, and Timosyanov is up his inside, but he's going to manage to shut the door. A little bit of contact between them. Larson it was, managing to have a look as well. So it's 4 abreast coming down towards turn 1. Grosset-Janin up the inside of all of them. Yes, Jérôme Grosset-Janin, what a move. Took advantage of everyone diving left and right through turn 1, and Grosset-Janin with a brilliant pass.
What a great job by the 2 Megane drivers. And we already have a Joker lap, which is really smart since they're all bunched together and they're fighting right now, so they're going to lose a bit of time.
Larson diving off to the Joker lap. It was a late decision. You could see from the attitude of the car, on the brakes, off the brakes, gas back in. They're using all the road here too, aren't they? But Grosset-Janin, that was great. And that's more like the Jérôme Grosset-Janin we're used to seeing. It's his first year in this GCK team running the Pro Drive built Renault Meganes. And he's been super fast, Grosset-Janin, in the past. But this year he hasn't quite got it together. Having said that, he got a podium last time out at Hollius. Hopefully things are on the up for him.
Very different cars with the onboard braking system.
Yeah, what do you think about that, Carl?
I think it's extremely smart.
I knew you'd love it.
The unsprung weight is something that you want to reduce as much as possible, and the way they did, it's absolutely great. So I'm on some racetrack, it might not make a huge difference, but on some other it's going to show.
Yeah, absolutely great stuff. Oh, in the background, Demoustier and Larson look. So Larson, having done the Joker, is right up behind Demoustier. Going to go up the inside here and take the position. He does, so Larson goes through, but that's going to cost him a little bit as well. Look at the way he moves that car around. Timosyanov on Chicheret. The Russian gets through. Remember a couple of years ago when they thought he'd had contact there and he was screaming, "I did not touch him!" and then threw his own helmet through his own windscreen. Go on, Timmer.
And it's not an easy place to pass also, so Timosyanov did something really good in the corner before.
Yeah, absolutely stunning pace from the Russian. Chicheret all over the back of him now. Timmer will want to close the gap down to Grosset-Janin. When they've got a light colour crash like that, you can see as well when he dives on the brakes, you see the chin drop, you know, the G-forces and acceleration, and on braking, absolutely massive. You can see how low they sit in the car as well, Carl.
The supercars are absolutely impressive, and you could see the Renault Megane got totally blinded with dust. when he entered the Joker lap, so he might have lost a bit of time on the entrance.
And he's lost out to Larson already, so Larson's managed to get past Sheestrit. So Sheestrit's done his Joker, but he's going backwards. So Larson now... Oh! Grosjean in the wall, and Timosyanov bangs into the rear right quarter. Grosjean was in the wall. There wouldn't have been any flags there, obviously, because it happened that instant. What's happened to the rear left of Timmer's car? Have a look at it. Is it still intact or is it broken? It looks... Oh, is it crabbing a bit or is he... No, maybe just full gas from Timmer. So Timosyanov, look at that. The rear quarter of the car is actually ripped off. No, Jerome!
That was a big impact for Timosyanov. I'm really afraid that at least the rear left corner is going to be misaligned.
Oh, Larson with a half spin almost. How did he hold on to that?
Timosyanov
Super spectacular. Yeah, Timosyanov stopped in the Joker, gets the car going. Robin Larson, that is typical Larson. Absolutely on the lock stops, on the limiter to pull the car back out of what for most other drivers would have been a half spin. Look how much the track is cleaning up down there, but I think Grosjean just put it in the wall, not that badly, and I think it's actually Timmer who's broken Grosjean's car when he's hit him afterwards. So yeah. We'll have a look back. Larson from Sheestrit. Oh, wow, okay. So Larson takes it. Whoa! Timosyanov's just gone to go so you can see him coming past. The noise that I could hear was very strange from Timmer. I feel sorry for Timmer because he was on a big push. It's blind through their car. How could he see it?
Tall blind corner, and on top of that, you're exiting the gravel section, so the grip is very limited. So you commit at maximum speed, but if there's something blocking you in the corner, there's just nothing you can do.
There's Timmer. You could see how strong the impact was because the rear left quarters, you know, the bodywork's pretty much missing. Jerome Grosjean, who is leading that one, and as I was saying, look at the front left corner of Jerome's car with the bonnet, the bumper a little bit.
Front left,
yeah,
actually.
It's not that bad. That's what I mean. I think he's just outbraked himself and nudged it in the wall. But then Timmer, you know, you go in there committed because you want to carry the speed down the straight. You hit the dirt and boom, you hit the car that's sitting in the road. So Timmer's on the radio, so that'll be to say to the team, I've had a look out the door. It's not as pretty as it was. Sorry. Robin Larson takes it with a big save on the inside line on the standard lap from Gulan Sheestrit and Gregoire Demoustier. But I'm afraid the quick guys in that one was Jerome Grosjean who put it in the wall, and Timosyanov, who through no fault of his own, collected Jerome. So that's a bit of a shame. We haven't seen the true pace there of either of the two guys at the bottom of that result. Right, we're going to take another look back at the start, hopefully, at some point. Here we go. Right, so let's have another look down at the first corner. So this was all pretty standard stuff. Carl, what do you think's going on? I mean, I look at, okay, so Larson, cuts in. Grosjean, where is he? He's on the inside. Look at that. He's just got it. Okay, we don't see Grosjean here.
Little push, little off tap from Sheestrit and Timosyanov.
What's Grosjean here? Has he gone in the wall?
It doesn't take much. All it takes is 3 kilometers too fast, and boom, you're in the wall.
He's just been gripped up by the tyres, I think, because Timmer was close enough maybe to see. Look at Larson, though, with that big recovery from the slide as well. And then poor old Timmer, was that damage, or was it more that he was distracted and maybe not in the right gear? Yeah. Oh. Shame for Grosjean. Carl stuck out there on the track. They're recovering it now. Timmer as well, suffering in that one.
Good job, Robin. I guess there were a few times during that race where you weren't confident that you were going to win it.
No, bad start again. And then I took the Joker. That was pretty good. And some guy didn't take it, so it was a bit of traffic on the second lap. Then, the speed felt good, and I just took one at a time. And on the last lap, it was something. I went really wide on when Timmer took it in the Joker lap, so I don't know if something happened or the track is really, really rough now, so it could be something like that. But feels good with the heat win after the 5-second penalty in the first one, so I didn't cross that line now for sure, so that's good.
Well done, Robin. Thank you.
Okay, so Robin there kind of, I don't think he's over the moon about the performance, is he? Because, there was traffic and stuff in the way. He says the track's a little bit rough, and we'd expect that. We've seen a lot of racing with America's Rallycross here as well as FIA World RX. We've got a lot of cars doing laps here.
It's a very busy track this weekend.
It is, and it'll be regraded overnight, so we're going to end up with a smoother track again tomorrow. We can expect the times to change again. Right, we're going to take another look back at that incident. Let's have a look here. So this is Grosjean in the lead. Coming in, we don't see him locked up, look. He then leaves the shot to the left. Timmer comes in. Watch Timmer, he goes on the gas. does.
Felt
No,
like
he's on the
there was
he's on
a
the brake.
Very,
No,
very
he wasn't on the brake.
small lock-up at the beginning of the braking
Ah.
zone, and it was enough to...
And do you see how close to the end of the tyre barrier he was? It was, you know, if he just missed it by a foot, he might have made it. But
And the problem is you're bouncing on the tire barrier, so you come in and then the car bounces back to the track, and that's exactly what
so
happened.
that's kind of what's caught Timmer as well. I'll say Timmer, we saw when he went on the brakes, didn't you? You saw the 3 lights light up inside the tailgate. So he did go on the brake just a tiny bit, but I guess he thought he was going to be able to avoid it. And again, you know, when you're following a car and it goes off in front of you, you don't think, oh, I need to check up immediately. You're like, how can I get through this losing the least amount of time?
And at the end of the day, you're pretty much a passenger. If you brake hard, you're going to hit.
You've gone straight
and
on
if
anyway.
you stay on the gas to try to avoid, you're just going to hit harder in that case. So.
Yeah, let's take one more little look for you. So watch for Timmer, watching the rear tailgate of Timmer's car, and you'll see in a moment when we get the replay lined up for you. There you go. So have a look at in the tailgate of Timmer's car for the 3 brake lights, which are behind the glass. So the lights on these cars are all fake. Obviously, we have a fair bit of contact. They're not supposed to, but watch inside the car. Watch. Suddenly, no. And in fact, he taps the brake almost after the contact, doesn't he? But he thought he had enough space, and unfortunately didn't.
Especially
quite.
when you're sideways, you want to have grip from the tires.
Yeah.
So usually the best way is stay on the gas. So he tried everything. If he would have lifted, the back would have swung wider and hit harder.
Jerome would be disappointed because that was looking like a good run. What were his lap times? Like 48.7 he was doing, so he was one of the quickest out there. Last one did a 48.5. 40, yeah, I mean, what was Loeb doing? Loeb was in the 47s, to be fair. Only the ones 47.9. I think that was when Loeb did fastest lap of the day, so 48.5, no, sorry, 48.7, he has about 8/10 off that. I mean, it was a good lap time. Of course, it's all about race time. It's whether you can do that for the 4 laps, and unfortunately on this occasion, Jerome couldn't, so there we are. Larson's target time is 3:29.1. Sending some of the cars down to the grid now as Grosjean's recovered. Renault is leaving the start-finish straight and passing us in the commentary position in a typically Canadian-looking truck. Those of you that don't live in the United Kingdom, we don't have cool trucks, I'm afraid. Our trucks are just not as cool as yours. America, Canada, got good trucks. Were you aware of that, Carl? Did you realise you had good truck game over here, or was it just standard for you?
Actually, I didn't know, but I feel much better now.
Do you? we use the word lorry in the UK. We have a lorry.
Isn't it cute?
Yeah.
We use Mack trucks and Kenworth.
Yeah. And Super Duty and everything, don't you? Yeah, I love it. I do like it. Whereas us Brits, of course, are just having a nice cup of tea and a scone in the afternoon whilst visiting the Buckingham Palace or something. It's all terribly stereotypical, isn't it? But we do like it. Right, let's get back to the racing. Come on, let's do this. So Hansen is on the grid already. Kevin Eriksson, who's looking at improved performance this weekend, whereas Kevin in the first session, he was P7. Timmy Hansen was P6, but of course Timmy had a bit of a problem after he'd got the whole shot. He then, unfortunately, stuck it a little bit in the... Oh, I see. Look, you've even got cool fire engines. You're killing us. Like, look at that. Our fire engines are nowhere near that shiny. Yeah, well, there you go. There you go. My producer's very entertaining at home. If only you could hear what he says to me in my ear. He's a very, very funny man. Thank you, Matt.
Some people would say we have beautiful grid girls also.
Canada is a very attractive place, I have to say. You've got stunning countryside. You've got so much space up here. Like Trois-Rivières as well, 3 rivers for those people who don't speak French, as I'm afraid I don't speak much French. But it's lovely here. I went for a little wander on the first morning, and riverside, everything. It's a cool place. You should come to this event. It is a cool event.
Very beautiful town between Quebec City and Montreal.
Yeah.
So usually people, when they look to visit Quebec and Canada, they think about Quebec and Montreal, but sometimes you can stop in between and see some good racing.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is such a famous circuit too. Of course, this is where Gilles Villeneuve was discovered, isn't it?
Actually, yeah, he raced in Formula Atlantic back in the days, and James Hunt came back and said, you know what, there's a little crazy Canadian who deserves to be in F1, and it's because of the Trois-Rivières Grand Prix.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Right, Christopherson's the last one to pull up to the grid. Let's take a look at the lineup for Q2, race 2. Timmy Hansen, Kevin Eriksson, Yannis Baumanis, Andreas Backerud, and Johan Kristoffersson. If you look at the bottom of the screen, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, that's what I was saying earlier on about how the grids are decided by the result of the previous session. So Johan Kristoffersson, the world champion, 10th after Q1. That's because of a load of contact during a pretty aggressive race with Andreas Backerud, who, handily for us, is right next to him on the grid. That's what we want, isn't it, Carl?
Well, if they keep going at payback time like that, Timmy Hansen's going to be really happy with that.
Look how far off to the side of his slot Backerud is, and I don't think that's to give Kristoffersson room. They do this sometimes to either avoid the tyre marks or not avoid them, to try to find the best traction. They have to be within that box, but up to them where they put it. So Backerud right across. Here we go. Kristoffersson got a decent start, but Backerud got a better one. Baumanis is flying as well. Backerud's going to surely move across. Timmy Hansen hasn't got a lot of room here. He needs to keep Backerud behind. Oh, the contact between him and Baumanis. I meant Baumanis around the outside. Kevin Eriksson trying to get the whole shot too. 3 abreast. Kristoffersson's in between Hansen and Eriksson. He's going to have to give best to Timmy. It's Backerud leading from Timmy Hansen and then Johan Kristoffersson.
Could have been bad. The 3 wide coming to corner 2 for the chicane. It was pretty scary, and Kristoffersson made the better move of the day. Why struggle between the 3 guys fighting when you can be alone and make up some ground?
Yeah, he's got himself some clean air here, and he has the advantage in this race. You know, it's unusual to see a lot of these guys in the second race. You know, these are the guys you expect to see in the quickest run of the day. But these are all fast guys, so he can afford to joker early and chase them down. They will know that now, and some of these guys might react, Carl, and joker to protect their positions.
Exactly, and Backerud made an extremely good start. I was afraid when I saw a lot of wheel spin from the back wheel, but at the end of the day, he still got the better run on the front straight.
Kristoffersson, look, with barely any steering input on the exit, just the car beautifully balanced. Talk us through what that means.
He is so smooth. Every time we see in-car from him or from Ekstrom, for instance, they pitch the car just the right amount, but the wheels stay pretty much straight most of the time. So you don't see him struggle, and we call it washing dishes with the steering wheel.
Catching a wasp. yeah. Backerud has jokered, look, and he's the guy who's done it. So Backerud has jokered to protect his position, and he's come out in front of Kristoffersson. So now we've got those 2 guys who had the brilliant fight in the previous run and running line astern, and they both jokered. If Johan wants to go past, he's going to have to pass him. He's going to have a look up the inside in the Polo, but he doesn't this time. We were talking to Bucky Lasek on ARX about driving in the mirrors. Fastest lap of the day, Hansen. Go on, talk us through.
Very smart from Backerud, because if you wait one more lap and Kristoffersson has a clear track in front of him, then Kristoffersson might be in front.
Has Hansen or Eriksson gone? They haven't. So Hansen then is now going to try and gap, possibly Peugeot, gambling on the fact that Johan is caught up behind Backerud now. Timmy Hansen has got a gap of 2.5. We think it's roughly that for an RX2 car. We're not quite sure about the supercar yet. And Carl, you said to me about how the track changes on every single lap.
Yeah, it's pretty scary, especially when you go for Joker. You expect the Joker lap to be pretty much the same, but you can get caught up and run really wide.
That is such a stunning shot when you get to look literally into the eyes of a driver who's doing 200 kilometres an hour at the end of the straight before hammering the brake and chucking it in. Backward fastest lap of the day. So we say the track's developing. Looks like it's getting quicker, and I think that's because the braking zone is dry and clean on the exit of the dirt section onto the tarmac.
That really helps. He's shooting for Joker now. So Timmy Hansen, let's see if he...
Backward's got him. Oh, but he gets Kristoffersson. Look at that from Hansen. Throws the Peugeot back out in front of Johan. How did he find the traction to do that? He's got the position though. Backwards in front in the Audi. So Backward hoping to set a time like Ekstrom did last time. Ekstrom did a 3:24.1 in the first session, Q1 earlier on today, but the track looks like it's faster now. 3:29.1 is the target time of Robin Larson at the minute. Down to stop the clocks, and what's the benchmark going to be? 3:22.7. That would have been enough to win Q1. Backward 6.3 seconds faster than Larson. We knew that the first race wasn't ideal, but that's a great drive by the Norwegian. Clever tactics from EKS Audi Sport to get him out in front of Kristoffersson. Hammered in that fastest lap and got the overlap on Timmy Hansen. Backward, good job. 3:22.7. Hansen, look, is just a second behind him. Johan Kristoffersson half a second off the back of him. Then Kevin Eriksson and Yannis Baumanis. Look, they're all super close in together, and they all go faster than the first race. So that first race, with all the action that was in it, was a little bit too slow. Right, let's take another look back at the start.
extremely great start by Bakkerud. Little wheel spin, but he still managed, and he had plenty of time to cut the track while Hansen got caught with the little contact. Fortunately for him, it was good, but 3 wide there, you don't want to see that. Everybody checked out. Everybody was really smart.
So it's interesting, Bakkerud joked, didn't he, from the lead? And by joking from, you think, oh, well, don't joke from the lead. He joked from the lead because of this man, the #1, the world champion, 5 out of 6 this year. Timmy did well to get out in front. Timmy had done a fastest lap of the day, and then Bakkerud, when it was crucial, he did a fastest lap of the day. And I thought Hansen's joker was good as well, so it wasn't like he made a mistake.
No, exactly. And Hansen was so smooth at the exit to take position in front of Kristoffersson. That was perfect.
Great stuff. Brilliant drive by Andreas Bakkerud. He is the fastest man in Q2 so far, and there's just 1 race left to go.
Andreas, it was a great start and then a great race. Is it nice to have Johan Kristoffersson behind you for an entire race?
Yeah, to be honest, you know, I've struggled so much today to figure out the setup stuff, so finally now we're back in business, ready for fight, so bring on tomorrow Q3, Q4, bring it on.
Out of interest, your position on the start grid was quite far to the right in your grid box. Is that for more grip?
Can't tell you, Mike, can't tell you.
Thanks, Andreas.
Can't tell us. That means there was something in that, 100%. This is what we're talking about. You'd need to be here to see it, but the undulations across the grid, the angle changes as you go across the road. So either something to do with the angle of the road or possibly where it's rubbering in. They resurfaced from the back of the pre-grid all the way to, I don't know, 50 metres in front of the start, just out the window to the side here yesterday. Like a black paint, and we really weren't sure what it was, but they all had data from previous years, and now, you know, we're you can see, in fact, that how black the surfaces look from the back of the white lines, and that goes forward 50 metres. So they've all got these machines they used to measure the traction with, Carl, and now that data's kind of out the window. So what are they learning, you know, on a race-by-race basis?
Actually, I talked to the technician who took care of that, and it's supposed to increase grip, actually. So they did it. They're trying something new this weekend, but if it works, you never know. Maybe all the tracks will do it.
Interesting. So they're trying to equal out the grip possibly across the grid.
Yeah.
Hard for you to see the undulations there. You can maybe see where the Monster Energy girls are standing. He's slightly lower than the area of grid that the cars are on. In fact, there's then a little hump behind the cars, and we're talking like minimal inches. Look where the TV crew is on the right-hand side. You get an idea where Kevin Hansen's pulling in. Where the wheel spin marks are, you can see there's a tiny dip in the road and then a rise just in front of the girls. He comes over a crest now and drops in, look. So you can see Kevin Hansen pulling up on his grid. So is he making a difference? We're not really sure. You know, Bakkerud was far across to the side of his box. Whatever the difference was, he didn't want to tell us, so it was something. Final race of Q2 on the line and ready to go. These guys then are going to be heading off for a night's sleep before making a plan to see what they can do tomorrow. This one will be fantastic. Sebastian Loeb, Matthias Ekström, Petter Solberg and Niklas Gronholm. 4 very quick drivers in 4 completely different cars. Kevin Hansen on the outside, so 2 Peugeots in this. Let's get it underway. Thumbs up will come for the marshals. They will leave the grid. The sole remaining marshal will make eye contact with each driver, get a nod from them to say, I'm good to go. You can already hear the growl of the engines. The revs are up. World RX action for day 1, about to be rounded out in Canada. Look at the smoke from the back of Ekström's car. There's Solberg with smoke from the tyres as he lights it up. Super close between the Loeb, Ekström, Solberg. Nothing to separate them on the way down to turn 1. Solberg shuts the door on Ekström. Ekström up the inside of the Polo, but Loeb's going to get the whole shot here, surely. Gronholm's tucking in behind the VW. Where can he go from there? Kevin Hansen on the inside of Gronholm. There, Solberg takes 3rd. Loeb with the whole shot. Kevin Hansen slots into 4th. Loeb sideways through in the Peugeot. Comes over the jump and onto the gravel first.
Lots of contact before the funnel in corner 2. Actually, Solberg was really smart to get out of the way, take the joker.
Exactly the same as Johan in the previous race.
Exactly. Those guys are really smart in strategy. And Ekström and Solberg, they could have damaged the car. They were really touching each other quite a bit between corner 1 and 2.
So let's see now what Peugeot do, whether they've got the confidence to leave Loeb out front, hammer the lap times in and beat Solberg on pace, or do they do what we saw in the previous race where Bakkerud jokered from the lead specifically to make sure that he didn't give Kristoffersson enough time to make the time up. So will Peugeot do the same thing and joker Loeb to protect Solberg Solberg behind, or are they confident that the 208, the new 208, they're not calling it a new car, even though it's a new chassis, new engine, new suspension, a new gearbox. It is a new car, and Ekstrom's going with him, so we need to keep an eye on that gap back to Solberg.
If he jokers at the next lap, he might end up behind Kevin Henson, but Kevin is very, very quick also, and they have the same car, same team, so they're not going to play dirty.
See, the other thing they could do here is they could back Kevin into Solberg. I don't think they'll do that, but Kevin as rear gunner there, if it got down to being time critical, I certainly don't think Peugeot will joker Kevin until the last lap, because if Solberg closes that gap, Kevin's the insurance policy, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
See, and I hope you guys understand at home as well, we're taking guesses on the tactics, and we're up here figuring this out. If you can imagine the job of a spotter in the spotter's tower, they're figuring that out in the same way you and me are, Carl, trying to go, what do you do? Do you do it or not? They're looking at the splits. They've only got about 30 seconds to decide. Then you've either got to send them into the joker or say, no, current lap, push. The gap's this. It's fascinating. The pressure on them is huge.
Yeah, it's incredible, because if you make a mistake in joker, it can cost not only the race, but more than one position. So it can destroy pretty much a whole qualification session.
Loeb leading from Ekstrom, but Ekstrom is right up behind him. Solberg now has closed that gap up. Look, and Solberg so late on the brakes up behind Kevin Hansen. Sebastian Loeb coming down over the start-finish line. What's the gap going to be? Watch for the gap from Loeb back to Solberg. So we're looking at the gap. Loeb to Solberg was 2.7. It's still 2.7. I think Loeb's going to do this as long as he keeps this tidy. So Sebastian Loeb and Matthias Ekstrom need to get the anchors on. Look at Kevin, locks the wheels. Kevin's going to go, and we know he's going to lose the position. Nicolas Gronholm's a little way off the back of these guys this time, so I wonder if he's got a problem. Keep it tidy. On the inside, on the gas. Solberg is fully lit in the background, but he can't get through. Loeb and Ekstrom have done it.
I think Solberg lost a bit of time behind Kevin Henson, and that's exactly what happened at the merge. Their Loeb and Ekstrom are going to be in front of him, yeah.
I reckon he might have been able to get Ekstrom, but I don't think he would have got Loeb, I have to say. So Loeb last time out, 1Q1, and his time was 3:23.4. At the minute, 3:22.7 is backwards time, so it's quicker than he was in Q1, but what's he going to do? 3:21.0, Loeb takes it. Loeb is fastest in Q2. He's the overnight top qualifier, winning both sessions of the FIA World Rallycross Championship. First day here at Trois-Rivières in Canada. They worked like mad at the mid-season test at Latvia. Apparently they were on track for nearly every second it was open, and Peugeot have found the pace to challenge at the front of this incredible series. Brilliant stuff from Sebastian Loeb. A dominant day for him. There it is, 3:21.0. Ekstrom, 3:21.6. Solberg, 3:21.9. So backward, even though he had a time which would have won in Q1, is going to end up P4 in this one. Kevin Hansen, Nicolas Gronholm a little way further down, and there you can go. Backward, look, down in fourth place. I say, would have been good enough for the win in Q1. The track has definitely got quicker. Loeb has got quicker with it. Great stuff, Carl. Talk us through this.
Very, very impressive start by everyone, actually, but when it funnels, somebody has to give up. Solberg was very aggressive under braking, but Loeb was just better position, and that's right here could have been a nightmare, but everybody was extremely smart. Solberg give the position to Ekstrom, and it pretty much saved
They have to, don't they, there? Because you have to, at the point where it gets narrow, say we've seen Faust in the wall one side, Demusdier in the wall the other side, you've got to give it up or one of you's going to retire. And luckily they were sensible enough to give each other enough space, so just about. Sebastian Loeb really pushing in the Peugeot. Fantastic stuff. The 9-time World Rally Champion is the only man other than Johan Kristoffersson to have won an event this year. Can he win here in Canada? He is the overnight top qualifier.
So Sebastian, your top qualifier, you won both sessions of qualifying. Talk us through that race. It looked very, very good.
Yeah, it was really good. It was a tough start, for sure, with Ekstrom and Peter next to me. It was not easy, but I was able to keep the first position, and then I tried to push hard. Ekstrom was also very close behind, but I did not do any mistake. The car was working really well, so I was really confident, and I could push on the limit all the way.
And can you tell us what has changed in the car? Have you made improvements? Is that what it is, or is it you?
Younger driver, like me. And no, but it's a lot of changes. We have some evolution in the engine. We have some suspension evolution, a bit of everything. Geometry, trying to do a good car, but it looks good. Since last test, we are really we have a very good setting. Now we are in the fight, so it's great.
Merci, thank you.
Sebastian Loeb, dominant so far this weekend. There you see it, 2 wins from 2 sessions. Matthias Ekstrom P2, the best of the Volkswagens, currently P3, and it's not Johan Kristoffersen this weekend. Timmy Hansen, Kevin Hansen, Niklas Gronholm, Andreas Backerud and Kevin Eriksson are your top 8. Johan Kristoffersen is in P9. Yannis Baumanis, Robin Larsson, Gurlan Schischerit currently just in. Timur Timurzian of can't help thinking was a little bit unlucky, along with Jérôme Grosjean and Grégoire Demoustier, rounding out our 15 drivers who've made the first long-haul trip of the year. Pretty cool start, I think, to the second half of the season. We've seen domination from Volkswagen for the first half of the year, Carl. I know you keep up with things and do a bit of homework when we're here as well. Interesting, isn't it? Both Audi and Peugeot seem to have found a little bit of extra pace.
Which is great for the second part of the season. And who would have thought that Kristoffersen would be sitting in 9th place? Like everybody were expecting Volkswagen to be somewhere in top 4. Here's a big surprise.
It is a big surprise. It's a big. I imagine Johan Kristoffersen's probably a bit surprised to be there and won't be over the moon about it either. So he's brilliant. He's got the number 1 on the car for a reason. He's won 5 out of 6 for a reason. Kristoffersen and co will go away overnight. They'll be checking every single possible detail they can to try and turn up the pace. And also, I think the tactics to stay out of the way of the other people. So Carl Nadeau, thank you so much for day 1. Look forward to you joining us for day 2 tomorrow. We still got some more ARX action to come on. Just got one more shirt change to go. I think a bit more ARX 2 and some semis and finals with them. But I'll let Neil Cole tell you all about that as well. So see you later.
Thank you very much, Andrew Coley and Carl Nadeau. Well, this is the tricky section, isn't it? This is the coming off the gravel into the tarmac, last corner, sliding sideways. We've seen quite a few cars into these tyres here and then back onto that brilliant, long, fast straight, and it all happens again. It's been a dramatic day. The rain is just starting now. We could have done with that, but it was dramatic anyway. Have we seen a changing of the guard in the off-season? Because Sebastian Loeb is quick today. That's it for today for World Rallycross. Thanks very much for watching. Join us again tomorrow because we'll have 2 live streams, Q3 and Q4, and then, of course, the live TV show, which is semi-finals and finals. But for now, as the rain starts to come down in Canada, bye-bye.